Hey everyone, Don Maguccione here, continuing the series on nutrition. I hope you enjoyed the last post where we had a little demo of a nice chopped vegetable and bean salad, which is very customizable. The reason we started off with that is just to show the importance of knowing what is in your food and having a great understanding from start to finish. So when you use fresh ingredients to make something like a chopped bean salad, you have control over exactly what is going into your food and you don't have any questions. You might want to think about the source of the food, where the vegetables coming from. Emily mentioned farmers markets. You can think about considerations such as organically grown, but it's really a great way to customize and make it exactly what you want. The budget can also vary depending on the type of ingredients, the quality of ingredients, where they come from, etc. So, what we're going to do today is continue building off of those principles and have a further understanding of what is in your food. So, this isn't really a what to eat segment, it is just saying here is how you can determine what is in your food and make the best choices for you depending on your goals. And we'll have a quick tip to end it off. We started off with making a chopped vegetable and bean salad. So, know exactly what's going in there. And there really wasn't any processed food because it's something that you're creating with fresh ingredients. So, when you see something in a box, like these cheddar bunnies here, my son enjoys those very much. That is processed food. If it comes in a box or a bag, it means there's some sort of manufacturing process involved with making that food. So, what I want to talk about is how to understand what is in the food and what is a serving size of food when you have something that's pre-packaged, so that again you can understand and make the best choice for you. So, when you look at any sort of boxed packaged food, it comes with a nutrition label with nutrition facts. So, there are two parts. You've got the nutrition facts on top. What the nutrition facts are going to do is give you a breakdown of the macro and micronutrients contained in that food. Macronutrients are carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. So three big groups. It's going to tell you what the composition of, so how many carbohydrates per serving, how many grams of fat, how many grams of protein. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. So that's going to tell you how many of certain vitamins and minerals, if any, are contained within the food, and then what is the percentage of the recommended daily allotment of that particular vitamin or mineral based on a 2,000 calorie diet, which it gives you as a guideline. The other part is the ingredients list right down here. So what the ingredients list is going to tell you is what is in the food. And a quick tip here is when you look at the ingredients list, the ingredient listed on top means that that is what is the basically most of that food is made up of that ingredient, and then it works down the list as far as, okay, this is the next most abundant ingredient down on the line. So for this snack mix here, cheddar bunny snack mix, for this here, it is organic wheat flour is the number one ingredient, and then expeller pressed vegetable oil is number two. So we'll talk a little bit more about sources of fats in a later series, but if you don't understand what expeller pressed vegetable oil is, don't worry, I didn't either when I first started off looking into this stuff. And as you might imagine, that is a method of processing, so we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. When you look at an ingredients label, general guideline is the fewer ingredients there are in a food that you're eating, and the more you understand them, probably the better that food is for you, the more digestible it is. So if you look at something like an onion, notice it does not come with an ingredients list because you know exactly what it is. It's an onion. So there is going to be a breakdown of macro and micronutrients within fruits and vegetables, and you can pretty easily find that information online as far as, okay, if I have a cup of chopped onions, what is the nutrition content of that, and how can I incorporate that to best meet my needs? So another thing to think about when you look at the ingredients list is sodium content, salt. So that's a big consideration for a lot of people's diets, especially if you have high blood pressure. Sodium is something that is typically overconsumed in our diets, and it's sometimes hard to keep track of. Up to 70% of the sodium that we consume is added during a food manufacturing process. So, needless to say, the more packaged and processed foods that we eat, the more sodium comes into contact with us. So, if you think about sea salt, and you want to think about, okay, how much, so we have per serving here, we have 200 milligrams of sodium. 590 milligrams of sodium is 1/4 teaspoon. So this is how much they are considering to be a serving of sea salt. If you're looking to season an entire meal, that's what they're recommending. So if you're kind of just sprinkling until it tastes good, that's not going to give you a good idea of how much sodium is going into food if you're making it yourself, for example. So that's the quick tip for today, really, is understanding the sodium content. The other thing to think about when it comes to a food label is the serving size. So a whole onion could be a serving size. That's the great thing about vegetables, really, is if you eat a whole vegetable, it might be more than a serving size. But the number one ingredient, if you will, in any vegetables is going to be water. So you don't have to really worry as much about portions of vegetables. You can make yourself a plate of salad. Sometimes the add-ons will be more than the designated serving size if you use dressing, if you use cheese, croutons. But for vegetables, it's very hard to overportion them because they're the significant water content. There's a lot of dietary fiber. So it'll fill you up faster than something like a processed snack. But when you look at any sort of packaged food, on top here, you will see serving size and servings per container. So the temptation sometimes, if you get yourself a nice bag of chips, a little treat, you might think that a bag or a box is a serving, and that's a logical thing to think. A pint of ice cream seems like it's a serving to me. But if you take a look here, serving size is a half a cup. Probably about this much. I've got a nice container of mixed nuts here. Probably about a half a cup, and servings per container about 8. So anytime if you consume an entire bag or box of something, what you want to do to see, okay, what did I just actually eat as far as nutrition content, you basically take the servings per container and you multiply everything by that number. So that's a quick reference guide here. 8 servings per container. Good way to keep track of your nutritional goals. If you're shooting for 2,000 calorie diet and you're trying to make that goal, that's how you could do it with packaged food. Again, with whole ingredients, you could look up the information as well. Hope that's helpful to start to break down understanding what is in your food. As mentioned, we'll get into fats and understanding food manufacturing process a little bit more on later posts. Hope you're enjoying the content. Please message or comment with any feedback, like on Facebook, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. All right, thanks. See you next time.